Sharing a thought today on the scripture Galatians 3 verses 15, starting at verses 15. I'm reading from the NLT. The little title here on the scripture says, The Law and God's Promise. Starting at verse 15, it says, Dear brothers and sisters, here's an example from everyday life. Just as no one can set aside or amend an irrevocable agreement, so it is in this case. God gave the promises to Abraham and his child. And notice that the scripture doesn't say to his children, as if it meant many descendants. Rather, it says, to his child, and that, of course, means Christ. This is what I am trying to say. The agreement God made with Abraham could not be canceled 430 years later when God gave the law to Moses. God would be breaking his promise. For if the inheritance could be received by keeping the law, then it would not be the result of accepting God's promise. But God graciously gave it to Abraham as a promise. Why then was the law given? It was given alongside the promise to show people their sins. But the law was designed to last only until the coming of the child who was promised. I just love that scripture, and I just want to share that today. As this morning I was listening to a verse on the radio, and it was talking about a verse from the beatitudes, which you read in Matthew 5, and I think it says things like, blessed are you, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven, and so on and so on. And I had a little vision in my mind, and the vision was that I saw like Christ sitting on a mountain, speaking the beatitudes to the people around him, the multitudes of people and his disciples. And I just thought, I remember when I was in church and how the pastor used to say that we need to try to be like these attitudes, that we need to be like these attitudes. We need to work at it and be like this attitude. This is the kind of attitude that we need to have, so that people will see Christ in us. And I believed in that, and I worked hard at trying to be this way, and everybody did. So the thought that I had in my mind today was, wow, that's the law. Jesus was teaching the law. And I thought, we're no longer under the law. That's the old covenant. Now we're under the new covenant. And so my thought was, I remember when I used to teach that also, as a teacher of the gospel, that's how I believed to be true. You know, I was under the law. I was religious and under the law, and believed that that was the way we are supposed to be. And so I taught that myself. And so as I was reading the scripture to you earlier, where it says, why then was the law given? It was given alongside the promise to show people their sins. But the law was designed to last only until the coming of the child who was promised. So the law, Jesus taught the law, and he taught it so you can come to him. We're no longer under the law. We're under grace. So listening to the Beatitudes or reading it again, I now understand that there's no way we could ever obey the law perfectly. There's no way that we can have all these Beatitudes. So I just wanted to share that thought today. And I just want to say that I'm thankful that I'm no longer under the law. I'm under grace, and I thank God for all that he has done.